Hello, everyone. Welcome to the next sections of our Agile series. Today we'll be continuing from the previous video, which is the 12 principles of Agile methodology. So, if you are new for this channel, like, share, and subscribe our channel in order to get a new update from us. So, without any longer ado, let's get into it. First, I would like to start our presentation by asking a question: what is Agile value? As I tried to explain in the previous video, Agile provides a methodology, a philosophy for the company in order to be more flexible. So it provides the 12 principles and 4 values. So these values are not just a closed law, they are an open-ended suggestion that a company or a team should follow in order to be more agile or in order to be more flexible, that helps the team or the company in order to adapt for the new changes or different problems, and it will help the company to solve really big complex problems. So what are these values? Let's see. So in order to highlight these 4 values, these are the 4 values. The first one is: if the company or a team follow agile methodology, should they have to say these values. The first one is: we value individual and interaction over processes and tools. And the second one: we value working software over comprehensive documentation. And the third one: we value customer collaboration over contract negotiation. The last but not the least says: we value responding to change over following a plan. So this is the highlights of the 4 values. What are they really mean? Let's see one by one. The first one: we value individual and interaction over process and tools. In this value, the value try to suggest that the agile team should have to more concentrate on individual and persons rather the process or tools. If the team follow the right process and tools, if they have no any individual or person that can use that process and tools, the team will be ended up by failure. So in order to avoid this thing, the individual, the team, the company should have to focus on the individual and the person. If in the company there is a collaboration between individuals, if there is a positive environment in the company, the individuals should have the possibility to figure out which process is right and also which process, which tool is best for the company or so for the process they are working on. So the first and the most important thing is the agile team. The team that follows the agile methodology should have to focus on individuals, the interaction between individuals and the environment which each individual and persons working on. If a team is doing this, they will have the higher probability to adapt any process and tool. If the process and tools that the company or the team are using has defect, there will be easy for the team members of the company to figure out which tool has a defect and which tool is not going with their work, and try to adjust themselves and try to change that process to the other one, to the better one, and modify or try to produce a better product. This is the first value. And when you go to the second value, we value working software over comprehensive documentation. And previous, before Agile came to place, there were a waterfall methodology, as we discussed in the previous video. In the waterfall methodology, there will be, before starting the job, before starting the project, there need to be planned each and every movements of the project, starting from the beginning to the end. In order to do that, the company should have to focus on each and every action without starting it. So If the company started to plan each and every movement without experience in a movement, when they face that action, they may not face that action as they expected, and when that happens, there will be a problem. On the other hand, Agile came to place and tried to make the team more agile. So, when the Agile team came to place, working software is the basic idea of the team. So the most concerns of the team is building the software, not providing a document. When I say this, it seems that agile methodology, the team that follows agile methodology has no plan. It seems that way, but that's not. The agile methodology gives the team to plan a lot, far from more than the waterfall methodology. But the team that follows agile methodology try to plan their work in different way, like unlike the waterfall methodology. They plan each sprint, which is they plan for a short period of time. In agile methodology, the big project will be divided into a small chunks of sprint. So for each sprint, the agile methodology the team that follows agile methodology should have to plan each and every more action on the process, starting from the beginning to the end. So there will be a lot of plan, but the plan will not consider starting from the end, but for each sprint. Rather, they call it not a plan or documentation, but in a team that follows agile methodology in the Scrum, they will use another technical name like user story and acceptance criteria. The document will store in the form of user stories and acceptance criteria. In the future, we will see what does mean user stories and acceptance criteria. But for now, in the Agile methodology, the document will be stored in the form of user story and acceptance criteria. So, the main concern is delivering the best product to the customer, not documenting the process, not by by preparing a documentation will constrain the team. The purpose is delivering the software, the best software, but in the way preparing the report or the documentation for that process. So let's get to the third value. In the third value, we value customer collaboration over contract negotiation. Agile, in the Agile methodology, the Agile manifesto agree with negotiation with the customer or the contract with the customer, but they also emphasize that collaboration is also important. If the team will negotiate with the customer and they start working on the customer, on the product or the project that the customer demands the team to build for them, at the end of the project, there will be a product. So in that product, there will be a customer required and there will be a project, what the project did, and also there will be what the contract says. These three things should have to agree, but most of the time there will be some conflict between these three things. So in the waterfall, it is very difficult to negotiate and go to develop that work. But in the agile methodology, the customer and the developer will work together. So they have a contract, but also they collaborate on the project. The developer do their work and they try to deliver the minimum viable product for the customer, and the customer will give a feedback about the project and they will try to modify the project based on the feedback of the customer. So the main goals of the developer at this point is try to make a user feedback loop in order to create a user feedback loop between the developer and the customer. And by this feedback loop, the product will be modified, 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 and it will be the perfect product for the customer as they expected. This is one of the biggest. This is the the more achievements of agile methodology. Okay, the fourth one is the last but not the least values of agile methodology. We value responding to change over following a plan. As we said earlier, in agile methodology, there will be a plan from starting to the ends of the project. But if there needs to be a change, if there needs to be a modification between these two things, to start from the beginning to the end, it will be very difficult because it's already defined, it's already planned. So each and every members of the team should have to stick with this plan. Otherwise, there will not any role or any regulation that can follow each and every individual in the team. I think you got the point. So, but in the agile methodology, there will not be a plan like constant plan that start DLS from the beginning to the end. And instead, in the agile methodology, they provide they provide a plan for each sprint, and after each sprint, the plan will be modified based on the situation. What will happen during the first sprint? There will be a lot of things that will be going on. So depending on that situation, they will modify the sprint, and after they modify that sprint, they will continue to the next sprint. And for the second sprint, they will prepare a new plan based on different situations they experienced in the first sprint, and also by taking feedback from the customer and by integrating the feedback, they will plan a good plan for the second sprint. And after the second sprint, they will continue doing that for the third sprint and the fourth sprint and going on. And just make the team to have really a good agility and flexibility. Most importantly, they will have the ability to adapt, the most complicated environment, the most they can build the most complicated project based on this approach. So agile methodology gives the team more flexible ability. So this is one of the benefits of following the agile methodology, responding to change as soon as possible. So guys, this will be the end for this video. For the coming video, we will see different agile methodologies like Scrum, as I told you before. We will see different how to write user stories and how to do a prototype. For the coming video, we'll do that. Stick with us if you are new. Like, share, subscribe. Like, share, subscribe our video. See you guys in the next video.